Hello, everybody. Welcome to Porch Time. Now, I know we've done a lot of talking about Ozempic and the harms of things like big pharma, all the crap they want to put in your body, how you take Ozempic, you'll want to kill yourself, you'll vomit diarrhea, you'll lose your hair, but you'll look a little bit hotter at least. Now, how would you like that magic even quicker, but with all natural ingredients? Now, I know I didn't believe it either, okay? But after watching some testimonials, I have been fully converted to yerba magic. Now, this is just yerba mate tea instant powder. It's a super drink with nootropics. I know what that word is. Prebiotics and probiotics. Probably phytonutrients as well, if I had to guess, because that seems to be in everything. You can also get the protein version. And now, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Why would anyone believe this? We've heard this before. But I'm going to show you some results. You cannot argue with these results. Oh, there it is. Okay, here it is. All right.
The volume's fucked up.
See?
That totally works.
Did you was the volume loud?
No, I didn't. It was screwed up. I could barely hear it.
Oh, it sounded really loud for me.
We don't know. We're terrible at this.
Yeah, especially
one thing I thought was funny today. I watched Bering. Bering's done a couple videos about clavicular. and it's just funny because he's shitting hard on looks maxing, and then he cuts to his sponsored segment, and it's cocoa, and it's a guy going, "Look, I ate the dark cocoa, and now you see my veins pop," and it's and I love Bering, but it's like, dude, do you not see how retarded you look when you're shitting on looks maxing and bullshit like that? And then you're shilling for the same fucking people.
That was, that was my one I brought up a couple of weeks ago with Warren Smith, talking about how water's not enough to hydrate you. I decided even the podcasters and shit that I like are, anytime they're selling something, I'm just not gonna buy it. I don't care. I don't care. If I had cancer and Ben Shapiro told me he was selling a cure for cancer, fuck you. I don't care. I'm not doing it. Okay, here it is. I got the volume fixed because I forgot to hit the select. Whatever, you don't need to know.
This was my mom 6 months ago, struggling with obesity and a massive beer belly. And this is her now, thanks to this old farmer right here. Just listen.
If you want to... 6 months. 6 months, you see that?
Oh, hang on. Damn it, stupid internet.
What is it?
For some reason, it started playing Blackout in the background, which I was listening to before.
Oh, Bartleby's trying to say that's AI. You think that woman didn't lose 450 pounds in 6 months?
Yeah, I don't believe it's AI.
Come on. I mean, I didn't. I'm pretty sure even if you didn't eat any food at all for 6 months, you wouldn't lose that much weight. But I think it's real. Actually, that guy's got a bunch of bangers on his channel.
I watched the whole thing of that Skyrim, if it was a woke game.
Oh, that was great.
I mean, the first half. I haven't watched the second half. Although that's another one that, talking about weird content creators or non-content creators, how does Asmongold do it? He barely adds content. He just plays other videos and goes, "Oh my god, that's crazy." How come I'm so huge? I don't want to be this huge.
No, it's just here.
I'm quite the other one. Oh, whoops. Oh, you did that.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's just a couple different layouts you can use.
I see.
Bartleby's still convinced that's AI. If you think that's AI, watch this one. This one, same guy's channel. He's got all these natural things. This is where he teaches you about lobster, farm-fed lobsters versus factory lobsters.
No sound. There it is.
Lobster, and this is farm-raised lobster. Watch what happens when I leave these on the floor for a couple minutes. Ants are all over the farm-raised lobster within minutes. They will not go anywhere near the lobster from Red Lobster, not a single one. If insects that survive entirely on instinct refuse to touch it, Ask yourself what that tells you about what is inside that package. In America, fast food Red Lobster is washed in chlorine baths and treated with preservatives that have no place in real food. That practice is banned in most other countries. Those chemicals do not disappear when you cook it. After years of eating these foods, your gut becomes damaged. Fatigue, sluggishness, belly fat that will not shift. It all starts from within your gut. In natural medicine, we restore the gut the way your body was meant to heal. Comment guide and I will send you my complete gut heal.
Anyway, that was actually really, very gracious of Red Lobster to let him film that attack ad inside their restaurant. I get what you're saying though with the streamers, because it's like, I don't know, one of the first streamers I saw was Destiny, and he does have a certain talent for, like, he's not stupid. He says insane things a lot, but he's not dumb, and he's good at speaking fast. He's good at recall and stuff like that. He has a talent for it. But like, I swear to God, the rest of them suck.
Yeah, like, I mean, I bet maybe there was a time in the past when Asmongold was doing like actual content and he's just coasting. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, because like I don't really know. Like I remember a few years ago somebody told me about him and I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. But like then I just see it, like it stuff pops up and it like kind of bugs me where I'm like, for one thing, I'd rather just watch the original because it doesn't have you covering up a quarter of it. You know? But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and he's not, I don't know. I haven't watched enough of him to know if he's dumb or not, but every clip I've ever seen of him, it's not that interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't add a lot. Like that seems like, because Bering,
Yeah.
like just talking about him, like Bering just does commentary, but he's fucking funny, and his wife is funny, and their dynamic is funny, and like they add a lot just by being themselves,
Well, yeah, but they make video essays and stuff. They usually don't live stream, and even but I've heard Bering live stream before, and he's capable of being funny. That's more his goal. Asmongold, he doesn't really try to be funny, I don't think, but it's like, I don't know. Even if he were to just do a video of the things that he says, I feel like it would be like, oh, okay. Like I don't feel like he'd say anything interesting. Maybe I'm being too hard because I haven't seen much of him.
Like the only thing, like he's obviously not woke, but he's also not conservative, which puts him in a slightly interesting place. Because, like, most of the people who are very actively not woke are also actively conservative, But so that's one thing I guess that kind of sets him apart is he's just a guy like, hey, look, this sure sounds like crazy bullshit, without going Ben Shapiro about it, or Matt Walsh. Well, that's another thing. Did you see Devin Tracy was kind of being pissy that he feels like in the last couple of weeks, Matt Walsh has basically just like lifted his entire like life's work.
Yeah, he's a salty guy.
Yeah, no, I can, that's things like there's, in fact, that actually reminds me because like it's hard to not just think that Devin Tracy is just a straight up racist.
He is.
It's like, because like I said, in the old days, I don't think he was so openly, or maybe he's changed. Like he was good at satirizing the way we talk about race. But like, and that reminds me that like today, I don't know, it's really sad, but it's also funny, but it's really sad. But Babylon B had a Not the B about how, yet some other football player with a $14 million deal is facing decades in prison for committing armed robbery. And can you believe it? And and I posted, like whenever anybody says poverty causes crime, my response explain the NFL. And I didn't expect it to blow up. Like I've gotten, a lot of responses to it. And, most people are like kind of tongue in cheek about it, But there's one guy who's like, well, yeah, but notice that it's a certain race that does this all the time. And you can call me racist if you want. And I was like, well, I'm not going to call you racist, but your analysis is terrible. And, you should reconsider that. And like, so we had a little bit of a back and forth. And he's like, no, but it's always them. Like, name one NFL player who was white and was convicted of felony.
Oh, that's a retarded thing. That's a bold.
Well, but this is where it gets funny, like where it gets into like a tragic comedy. Is that because when I was at work, and so like I just go to my AI, and I'm like, name a white or like, are there any white NFL players who are convicted of felonies? Because like, of course there has to be, of course.
Oh yeah.
And what was funny is that the AI auto-generated spit out this thing. Like, I almost want to bring it up to quote it verbatim, but it's not. I won't. But it literally was like, yes, there have been many white NFL players convicted of felonies, including Ray Rice and Adrian Peter. And it's like, and I'm like, hey, no, those guys are black, AI. Like, they're black.
They could have at least said Aaron Hernandez got a little closer,
Yeah, well, like, and I thought, because, like, like, that was the only one I could think of off the top of my head, but I could already tell, like, I'm dealing with a racist, like, well, Hernandez, they're basically black, but, like, this is where it got tragic comedy. It's like, so I went to Wikipedia, and they've got a master list of professional athletes who've been convicted of crimes. And I went to the American football, the gridiron football league, and I had to click through like 15 before I got to a white guy. It's like, because I don't know that much about football. I don't know all the names, but I'm like, maybe like and I was like, obviously like the Tequila Deschamps, like like, okay, I'm not gonna do those, but like I'm like, it's like Josh Cannon, that's got to be a good nope. Like, yeah, Ray Davis, that's got to be a chance. Nope. Like,
Cletus, that guy for sure.
Like, yeah, exactly. I was like, really? But like, I finally found one, and like, okay, here you go. Here's one. Are you happy? But like, it is. But it's like, it's just sad. It's like, okay, that we talk about it all the time. Like, yup. The statistics are clear that the African American demographic disproportionately commits crime. What sucks about that is that actual racists glom onto that because they think that it's because they're black that they commit crime. It's like, no, that's wrong. Race plays a role in this complex situation, but obviously it's not because they're black. That's stupid. It's wrong. Like,
it's because of systemic oppression over the years.
It's because of welfare, basically. But really, yeah, it's like, and those things like, so like race is a factor in that, but it's not what they think it is, and like it does bother me that like that it gives them such obvious ammo, especially when I'm trying to find a white crooked NFL player and I have to pick through 15 black guys before I get to the one white guy. But yeah, I don't know. Like it sucks. Like I get black pilled thinking about. Oh, I didn't mean to make that double entendre. But like I don't know. Like the fucking communists swept the New York Democratic primaries.
Oh, dude, that was
brutal. Like it's just like, god damn it! Like this is gonna get worse before it gets better. And like, and I'll like, because that's things like my whole life. Like I remember being a kid and like I grew up in a very bookish family, and my dad talked a lot about history, and like my mom talked about like, because my grandma was a German and her brothers fought in World War II for the Germans, and like talked about like my grandma hated the Nazis and she felt like Hitler destroyed her family and her country and all this crap, so like I was pretty plugged in, and I always like had this moment like, man, like I'm so glad that will never happen here. But like I really wonder, it's like, is there any reason really why we can't just go Venezuela? Because like it literally took 3 years for Venezuela to go from the wealthiest nation in South America to a communist nightmare shithole of
capitalist aggression.
Oh, that's right.
They didn't want them to succeed.
That's how that worked.
Oh no, Charles is listening to Camilla. No, he's noticing. No. Charles.
Yeah, see, like Camilla's another one where it's like, okay, like early on, I'm like, well, he's satirizing the way we talk about race, and fairly so, because like there's a lot of bullshit about how we talk about race. But then it gets like to him, it's like, no, I think you really just don't like black people because they're black.
He's kind of gotten that way. I think it's just over the years because he got fucked over hard on his Sirius XM deal.
Oh yeah,
because of like he was just out shooting photography with his camera, and this black lady got in his shot, and you can't take pictures of me. You can't take pictures. Got really aggressive in his face and started trying to hit him and shit. And then he talked about it on air, and he just said, we need to talk about how the black community kind of has a problem with aggression out of nowhere. And he got fired for that. That was a pretty fair observation. And then
that's kind of wondering.
More and more salty over the years. He says, you know what? Fuck it. I don't like him.
Yeah, and like I kind of wonder, like, is it like a combination of that and like audience capture and that kind of feedback loop? It's like the other thing I think about is like years ago, like I have an acquaintance, who is super fucking woke. Like I haven't seen him personally in years. He moved away to Portland, and he lives in a van, and he's super fucking woke. And I barely interact with him. I just see what he posts. And the fascinating thing is, like, I remember, like, I don't know, about 10 years ago, hanging out at the coffee shop, and like he was talking about how he's like, basically I'm relating his story. He's like, like, I'm not racist, but when I was in LA, I got jumped and mugged by a bunch of black guys with knives, and I can't help it. When I see black guys dressed a certain way, I get triggered and nervous, and like, this is like a conversation with people he can trust. And I'm like, I get that. Like that, they call that PTSD, like when I was a kid, I got attacked by a dog rollerblading.
Did the other people shit on him?
No, everybody's like, basically like, well, yeah, because the other thing is like, I know he's not actually racist. I know he's not just because he's woke. I know he's a nice guy, and he just like, I mean, again, like I always say about especially when you listen to the John DeLynn types, where they talk about like, oh, the Church of Mormons is nightmare of white supremacy. And like, I was born in 1980. I was raised in Utah by a bunch of white people. And the only message I ever got from church, school, and family was that racism was an intellectual and moral evil. Like, it's factually wrong. Like, it's, the basis is flawed, and it's morally wrong. Like that's the because I always hear these people, they talk about it like oh, that's what you're supposed to say, but everybody knows that in private the Mormons are Zeke Heiling or whatever. That's actually what they do with the right hand of the square. Like they only do that for the pictures.
The people who adopt themselves into Jewish clans, those are the guys that are Zeke Heiling.
Yeah.
People that got in trouble for doing baptisms for the dead for Holocaust victims. Yeah, they hate the Jews.
But just that, where it's like, no, like that's all the message ever was, is like, and as far as like the racist doctrines of the church and the racist past of the church, if anybody talked about it at all, it was very much, you could tell that like people wished it would go away. Like they wished that they didn't have to think or talk about it ever again,
Yeah.
But, so a couple weeks ago, I was talking to my brother when we were watching the Brazil game. It was after the Brazil game, and it was barbecue time at the Brazilian people's house. And somehow we were talking about, like, because first off, he got on this thing about, like, oh, Americans are so ignorant. They don't know anything about other countries. And I was like, I mean, everybody's ignorant about everybody. And that's okay. Like,
okay, but also we don't have many neighbor countries. Like I've heard Europeans say that shit. It's always annoying to me. Like, bitch, you could throw a stone and hit 3 different countries. All right, I could drive for a day and not get through Texas.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, like Brazilians know. Well, that's the other thing. He's like, because he was a missionary in Chile. He's like, they know way more about America than we know about them. I'm like, well,
we're more popular. I knew way more about the football quarterback in my high school than he knew about me.
But also, like, well, then just that, like, their media is predominantly American media. Not predominantly, but like, we get 0 Chilean movies on TV. American movies are on TV all day, every day over there. That's how that's always fucking been, So like, of course it makes more sense that way. Well, that's like, Chris talked about, like, because he dated a Mexican lady, And he said, like, part of the reason that like that relationship struggled with that was that like she didn't get any jokes. But he dated a Venezuelan who knew every single line from Seinfeld, but in Spanish. You know, like completely different. Anyway, first we started out talking about that. And like my brother is a power plus privilege type guy. He literally thinks that that's what that is. And anyway, so I'm like, I bring up like, if you like, they've done surveys and they ask when they ask not just white people, when they ask Americans and even other countries, like, how would you feel about living next to somebody of a different race? White Americans are the least racist people around as a demographic. And he immediately answered. He didn't hesitate. He said, well, that's because they know the right answer. And it's just like, how that's
the other
so
dumb ones
fucking convoluted and stupid and obviously wrong. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, they're anonymous surveys.
That reminds me of,
Like,
so there's
why
this Reddit post went viral. I have lost all respect for the Japanese after the translation feature on X. It's Twitter, it's not X. I'm not calling it that. This isn't to generalize all Japanese people, but I'm a black 17-year-old female. I remember being very fascinated and interested in Japan for a long time due to entertainment, music, and anime. I almost wanted to go there. I love the food, culture, and tradition. However, I unfortunately had the displeasure of seeing Japanese Twitter due to the recent translation mechanisms. There I saw hundreds of thousands of racist and anti-immigrant Japanese people. When Japan literally has almost no immigrants, it seems like they are trying to relate to Westerners in such an undignified way. They are also extremely racist to black people, despite us never offending them, as well as ever self-hating and deferent to whites. I also had the displeasure of seeing what they say about Chinese and Korean people, especially Chinese, while being so hypocritical as they judge other races to different standards as they do to whites. The worst part is that these kinds of content were extremely popular. Just like all my respect and interest toward Japan disappeared. I really don't respect the people much, and I'm starting to get the ick from them. I tell people that all the time. Anytime we talk about racism, we're talking about it with I got two woke brother-in-laws. You got the gay furry woke and then the performative woke. And one of them's woker. I bet you can't guess. The gay furry is less woke.
Fascinating.
He didn't get mad at Morgan for saying fag one time.
He's got less to virtue signal about.
I know. But they started talking about race, and I asked him this question that always short circuits people, and I won't say the word just because it'll get our channel fucked. But I was like, okay, tell me if this phrase is racist. It is always wrong to call black people N-words, right? But I actually said the word, and they're like, kind of like froze up because fuck, what do I?
They're no, I know what you're talking about. The pupils, their eyes become little rotating hourglass icons.
Because I feel like most wokies, especially ones online, if I ask them that, they'd say yes because you said the word. But I'm telling people not to. It's a mean word to call black people. Is that racist?
Yeah, but it's just amazing to me that because like my brother, like I don't think he realizes it, but he's doing critical race theory when he says that. Like that's exactly what that is. That's interest convergence theory. Like, oh yeah, like white people will act not racist. They'll do things like they will marry people of other races and have children with them. They'll vote for them. If you ask them in an anonymous survey how they feel about them, they'll say that they're fine with it. And this is all just cover for how secretly racist they are.
Are you saying they're the only race? Are you saying they're the only race smart enough to know the right answer? Like, is that what we're?
Yeah, no, that's the other thing. It's like because that's the thing is like exactly like because if you ask Mexicans that, they come out way more racist than white Christians do. I guess they just don't know the right answer.
Anytime I get in discussions like this with people, I always tell them white Westerners are probably the least racist group of people on the planet.
Yeah, no, white Americans. Like, I remember years ago, I had my cousin-in-law had some job that took him all around the world. He traveled the world. That was his thing. And I can't remember how it came up, but I remember he told me, and I was really surprised that he said the most racist place he had ever been by a long way was Belgium.
Really?
Said the Belgians are incredibly racist. I was like, wow, fascinating.
Well, speaking of other places being racist, this clip, let me grab it, is fantastic. You might have seen it. I don't know, but
an exclusive offer just for you. But there's only 1 week left for Life box packed form. To celebrate, download the hand membership you'll ever join.
Could she come to America?
Well, she has a visa. I mean, she's here. She has a visa, but she doesn't have a green card and she doesn't want to get dual citizenship. But
Why?
I've always wanted, because America sucks and she doesn't like America, just like me.
America sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why everyone tries to move here. That's interesting. Why does America suck?
Well, one, we're gay, so like everything that's going on with like
America's
possibly,
very gay.
It's not heading in that direction, Caleb.
Very gay?
Well, like with gay like being okay, like we're kind of going more into like laws that, especially like against the trans community, and then
trans.
also no, but I mean it's a part of our community, the LGBTQ community. We have to remember the trans people too.
No, sure, but it's not really going anti-gay. Things have only gone better for gay.
It's getting close to being overturned. So.
Typically, even with trans things, despite what rhetoric you might see, because grass is always greener, typically the United States is on the forefront of progressive values. It's been European countries that banned beta blockers and other surgeries and anything for people under age, where you can still get that in the United States. We tend to be on the more progressive, hey, do whatever you want side of things.
I'm not moving to Europe.
Well, exactly.
Mexico's like getting more progressive, whereas we're kind of going back.
And how does very traditionally Catholic Mexico think of trans people?
Well, even though like sometimes there are people that have religious views, they're not like quite as like here we have the conservatives, which since they're more prominent, I feel like they're kind of ruining America.
Well, they won the last election.
Yeah.
Will they win the midterms? Typically not. People that usually are the sitting majority don't usually win in the midterms. But either way, even Republicans tend to not really have issue with gay people these days. Trans, very hot topic for sure.
Well, I feel like a lot of the Republicans do have a problem with gay people, but in Mexico, like I feel more safe like being gay, holding hands with my girlfriend, even in like a small town.
Will gangs not kill you for being gay in Mexico?
No.
Really?
No, absolutely not. 100% no. Gangs are not against people being gay. The whole like thing with like the cartel, you're only gonna end up in deep shit with them if you go looking for deep shit. So if you're an idiot, yeah. But if you're not stupid.
It's kind of amazing how cartels are even more accepting than cartels are more accepting of gays than Americans.
Not true.
Oh, it's not even close to true. These people are so fucking dumb. But anyway, she's about to. I want to see if this sets you off. What she's about to say.
And you're not gonna get killed. I don't know.
Well, you know, usually where I hear like you can get killed, typically
you
is in
can
a
get killed
street.
here for being gay, Caleb. So.
And how often does that happen?
Happens
very often. Please tell me. Give me a recent case.
Well, there's the Sam Nordquist that happened in the last year, and then there was also a trans woman who was killed recently here, but I haven't done like a bunch of research. I just
was she killed for being trans, or was she killed because people die? People do die.
Well, Sam Nordquist, I don't know a lot about her story, but Sam Nordquist, he was killed for being trans.
Gallup, May 2025, just under 70.
Okay. What does that set off in your head?
No, like, and that's things like how deep into the propaganda do you have to be? Because like he just says, like, name a case. And like, I wonder what that case is she named, because I guarantee if we go look it up, it's not going to be an anti-gay thing.
You wonder? Why do you wonder about that?
Well, because for one thing, if they actually had an unambiguous case, NPR would blast it as hard as they've blasted anything.
Well, Flip, you're about to be floored. Because this is a case of Sam Nordquist, a trans man, okay? Legal and investigation and legal charges. The Ontario County District Attorney stated there was no evidence the killing was a hate crime, stating that his assailants were known to each other, identified as LGBTQ+, and at least one of the defendants lived with Sam in the time period leading up to the instant offense.
There you go.
In February, the Monroe Medical County announced that they plan to conduct an autopsy. There was a couple. There's 5 suspects and 2 additional suspects. The 7 were charged, blah, blah, blah. And it said the prosecutors said suspects all knew each other. There are some romantic relationships, Matthew Shepard. There are some family relationships and some people that just knew each other. Oh, wrong way. At least 3 of them have criminal records, convicted of child sexual abuse. He was registered as a sex offender.
Like
grand larceny, distributing pornography to a minor.
It's like a gift to Matt Walsh. Like,
I know.
If he rubbed the lamp and asked the genie for a wish, this would be the case that would come out. Like, it's really
and one of them was in an on again off again relationship for many years with this Sam Nordquist. This was the best. This was funny. This was
does it mention the drugs? Were they all on
it
drugs?
probably did. I didn't get to that part, but this is great. On Blue Sky, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called the events around Nordquist killing deeply disturbing, writing that Minnesota stands with our LGBTQ neighbor, not the ones that killed him, against this unthinkable crime.
No, he definitely stands with the ones that killed him.
Yeah. New York Governor Kathy Hochul issued a statement on February 15th that her office would provide any support needed to secure justice. We reaffirm our commitment to protecting trans rights, ensuring safety. Okay, we'll talk to the other gays that killed this guy.
What it's like not was it last week when all of the reports, all the headlines were police shoot baby in response to shoplifting call.
Yeah.
Like that they literally report it like that, as if anybody's gonna half of the country just goes, oh yeah, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. The police just go shoot babies because they can. Did you watch that thing I linked about NPR finally reporting on the Antifa terror trial?
I didn't get a chance to. Are you wanting to pull it up?
It's pretty amazing because, first off, it's a 2-minute clip, but
right.
hang on, because we'll just read it. But what did I do with that? A federal judge has given lengthy sentences to 8 people who participated in an anti-ICE demonstration outside of Texas immigration detention. Participated in an anti-ICE demonstration. Okay, first off, it wasn't an anti-ICE demonstration. It was a violent, illegal riot. There were no demonstrators there whatsoever. There were rioters. And by participate, they tried to murder a cop, right? And they were convicted of this. The group faced terrorism charges after the non-fatal shooting of a police officer. Oh, okay. And they faced charges. No, they were convicted at trial. And it's funny, you can go to the DOJ and they've got a page on this and they summarize some of the evidence, and they've got screenshots, they've got photographs, they've got transcripts of the texts and messages they sent to each other and stuff they tweeted to each other. It's almost as if there's a whole case showing that these people were part of a terroristic cell who planned to murder a fucking cop.
When did this happen?
Last year, February 23rd. What happened?
Last February?
Let's see. No, so it happened on July 4th of 2025.
Jesus
February
Christ.
was the trial. And so it happened last year. But then also, this is the other thing with this NPR thing that's so fascinating. Damn it, I'm bad at clicking. Where is it? Is it on this one? But they always talk about how where's the Antifa thing? Search. Because everybody always makes this case about, federal prosecutors accuse the demonstrators of being affiliated with Antifa. No, they demonstrated it in court with evidence. Right?
Wait, read that again.
Federal prosecutors accused the demonstrators of being affiliated with Antifa, which is short for anti-fascist, a far-left ideology, not a centralized organization.
Oh, of course, we got to add that.
Not a centralized organization. You know what else is not a centralized organization? The KKK, not a centralized organization. But for some reason, they think they make a point by saying it's not a centralized organization. Doesn't matter.
The KKK is sort of a centralized organization.
No, it's not.
It's just that half of them are from the SPLC and the other half are from the ADL.
Well, no, but the fact is, there has never been the KKK. They are like Antifa. They are a loose association of cells, basically. Yeah. But there's actually just like all these people, there's a bunch of different KKK groups that hate each other for the minor. I just watched between yesterday and today. I just watched Life of Brian again, and it's just amazing how topical that is. That whole thing where the Judean People's Front, they hate the Romans, but not as much as they hate the People's Front of Judea. And which is directly satirizing communist movements, because that is the real story of communist movements, is they all splinter off and they hate each other more than they hate the capitalists. And, and like I always make the point about like communists and fascists hate each other the way Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses do. And like from the outside, people can't tell a difference. Nobody's like, yeah, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're the same thing, right? They're weird non-Trinitarian American Christian cults that go door to door. They're literally the same thing, and that's the same thing. Like with just a little bit of difference, you're like communists, National Socialists. What's the difference?
They fucking hate each other.
They hate each other, not because they're so different. They hate each other because they're so much the same. But just the way this is shooting, like defendant Benjamin Song was sentenced to 100 years in prison. He was charged with shooting and injuring a police officer outside the Prairie Land Detention Center during a July 4th protest. No, he was convicted of shooting and injuring a police officer, and it was not a protest. It was a fucking illegal riot. An illegal riot is redundant, I know, but it was not a protest. And you know how it wasn't a protest? Because it was illegal. Protesting, demonstrating, those things are legal. And nobody gives a fuck if you demonstrate or protest. That's a sacred right in America to demonstrate and protest. These are not demonstrations or protests. They are fucking riots. The judge said he didn't take responsibility. Song's mother, Hope Song, said the prosecution misportrayed her son's actions during the noise demonstration. That's got to be a typo.
Whoa.
Hope Song, this is a quote from the mom. He's accepted full responsibility for what actually happened, but he will never accept responsibility for a lie. A government lie made to prosecute innocent people.
Wait, was this a guy that actually shot the cop?
Yes! And this is what his mom says. Like, he claims, here we go, Benjamin Song claimed during his sentencing that he opened fire at the officer out of fear that protesters would be shot at.
It's just preemptively. I think those guys are going to shoot at. I better start firing.
Like now, never mind. Like, this is the other
was
thing,
clearly an unfounded. Well, it was clearly an unfounded fear, even if it was true, because he shot the guy and then didn't get shot.
What's amazing is this is a journalist. Like NPR assigned a person to this case, and they ran this story. And I wonder if you can go over to the DOG website and you can see that they planned it.
I know.
They talked about it, right? Like, why are you just giving the defense that was proven wrong?
Here's the thing. If your kid goes to jail, I do feel bad for you because it's going to suck watching your kid do that. But even moms of convicted criminals say the stupidest shit.
Well, we haven't heard from the lesbian wife of another convict.
Oh, Christ.
Lydia Causa is the wife of defendant Autumn Hill, who was sentenced to 50 years in prison for her alleged involvement. Not alleged!
Wait, they're saying alleged?
Convicted! Not alleged, convicted!
Holy shit, NPR.
And here's the quote from lesbian wife. In the face of this grotesque distortion of anything that could ever have called itself due process, I am livid.
I am livid. Write a sternly worded letter.
Oh, you know that due process where you were arrested, you were tried, you had a defense, the prosecution showed a whole bunch of evidence, the jury was like, "Yep, you're a terrorist." Like, it's just astounding. It's amazing. That's how NPR is reporting this. Like, it's really, I mean, it's a wonderful piece of propaganda. Alleged. Oh, by the way, Antifa is not even a centralized organization. Like, and his mom says he didn't do it. Like, why are we even like? Really? No. It's amazing.
Did you ever watch the Netflix documentary The Crash?
No, I heard Dr. Andre talk about it. What's his name?
Grande?
Yeah, Dr. Grande.
Grande, yeah. That one's hilarious. I think he taps on her parents because they're fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, like throughout the documentary, they're talking about how, like, the dad's like, I mean, smoking weed's not a big deal, so like, I'm not gonna police my kid for smoking weed. Like in high school, he's just letting her smoke pot and get drunk and stuff like that. And
it's all fine.
Did you ever see the actual crash?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, here is what happened.
Let me switch over. I'm playing my nerdy U-boat game in the background.
So that's just her. And she's driving pretty slow right there. She's just turning the corner.
She's turning slow because she's lighting up her blunt right there. I mean, it's a natural mistake. That's happened to me.
Well, they tried to say she had this illness called POTS.
Oh yeah,
postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, a disorder of the autonomic nervous system is characterized by an exaggerating increase in heart rate when standing up, leading to dizziness, fainting. I'm like, I think I have.
It seems like from being a fat guy.
I know, but it's funny because they tried to blame that on everything, and all of the evidence is like she had done this a couple weeks before, like driven insanely recklessly and threatened to crash the car with her boyfriend in it. She, the little black box in the car indicated for the last full like 3 seconds, 100% pressure on the gas pedal, didn't let up until they hit the wall, and she was going like 80 miles an hour or something insane like that.
Was she trying to kill herself too?
I think she intended to die, but like it just so happened to, like, it fucked her up pretty bad, but it just so happened to hit more on the passenger side, and the guy in the back was in there. But listening to her dad said one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard. I listened to him on a podcast where he's trying to explain it to somebody, and they're asking it because she claims to have this pot. She passed out, and somehow, even though she passed out, she floored it for the last 20 seconds. And she claims that she doesn't remember anything before that turn. Like that's where she blanks. That's exactly, she remembers anything inculpatory.
Well, and this POTS thing doesn't, like, there's nothing about amnesia in that, is there? It's not like you lose consciousness.
I mean, you could claim amnesia of, like, getting fucked up in a car wreck, I guess. But it is just very convenient that the amnesia starts right when it looks kind of shitty. But it was funny because it was kettle logic through the whole thing. It was, I know I didn't intend to do that, and I also don't remember doing it.
Yeah.
and her dad's trying to explain this, like, no, we're gonna keep appealing it, we're gonna get her out of there. I know she didn't do it on purpose. And they're like, how do you know that? Well, because I went and asked her. I was like, Mackenzie, level with me, did you do this on purpose? She said, no, Dad.
Well, that settles it.
Like, you're fucking stupid. Like,
no teenage girl has ever lied to her father.
You not see maybe a little bit of motivation to lie about this?
That's amazing. Is the documentary any good? The Netflix documentary? Because some of those are just shit.
I don't know. It was interesting, but
yeah,
it was only interesting to me because I didn't really know the case. I didn't know that you already know the twist, that she did it on purpose.
Oh yeah, it's spoilers. She's a crazy bitch.
Yeah, it's kind of just like, if you want to watch something on it, watch like a 15-minute YouTube video.
See, I think I've already seen that, so I don't need to watch the documentary. Because, sometimes documentaries are really good. Like, you ever see Errol Morris documentaries?
I don't know.
He got famous way back in the 80s because he did The Thin Blue Line, was actually one of the first, like, cases of a documentary and taking a legal case and going, I think the cops got it wrong. He's the guy who made the documentary about the Mormon in Chains story, if you ever saw that. Tabloid. Do you know that story?
Mormon in Chains?
Do you not know this story?
I don't think so.
Was it the 70s or 80s? that crazy obsessed lady who was in love with a missionary
Oh God.
flew to England and kidnapped him and chained him to a bed in an English motel and raped him.
The manacled Mormon case?
Yes. With what's her bucket?
Oh.
She was a beauty queen, and
I have seen that. And that was always sad to hear about because she raped him a bunch. And every time people hear about that, they're like, "Oh, I wish she would have kidnapped me."
Like, yeah, no, I don't think he liked it. And she made the kind of hilarious defense that, like, you can't rape a man. It's like trying to push a marshmallow into a parking meter.
If the condom doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah. And the guy, like, obviously he's probably been offered a million opportunities for interviews and stuff, and probably offered money for his story, and he just like, no, leave me the fuck alone. But yeah, no, if you ever saw Tabloid, that's an Errol Morris documentary. He did I don't know, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but we like talking about movies. But I really like Errol Morris documentaries, like contrasting him with like who's the fat socialist piece of shit? Michael Moore. Yes. Because like, for one thing, Michael Moore is a propagandist through and through, but also he's the star of all of his documentaries. Yeah. Whereas like Errol Morris, you almost never hear his voice. Like only if it's necessary do you ever hear his voice. He just points the camera at people and lets them tell their story. And it's fascinating. Like he did one called Mr. Death that was about a guy called Fred Leuschner. And it was just fascinating because like the first half of it was this weird, nerdy kind of autistic guy who's a weirdo who had the rather fascinating job that Leuschner is spelled in an extremely weird German way if you're trying to find it.
Leuschner.
Leuschner. He had the fascinating job that he was an engineer who designed and maintained execution devices for governments to carry out executions. It's like, wow, that's a crazy story right there. And then it gets even crazier because he ends up getting hired by what's his bucket, famous Holocaust denier. And like the way you tell the story, like, I mean, he's kind of sympathetic in that it kind of sounds like he, just sort of got sucked into this Holocaust denial thing where like, he's like, they had me go to Auschwitz and I chipped some concrete off the walls and I sent it to a lab and it came back, negative for poison Jew killing gas. And, and then they have a scientist explain like, well, he didn't tell us what it was. So like he gave us chunks of concrete, which we ground up. And if we had known what we were testing for, we would have known to only take a few microns from the surface because the deathly Jew-killing gas only penetrates a couple microns into concrete. So when we crushed it all up, it diluted the sample to below the threshold. Anyway, really good documentary, like just fascinating. We're like, wow, stories.
Jesus, that beauty queen lady, the shackled Mormon lady. So she didn't serve any formal prison time for that.
Yeah, she got away with it.
She used a fake passport to flee the UK. And this is crazy. I didn't know about this. Well, I didn't know about any of it. In 2008, she resurfaced in Global News under her middle name, Bernan McKinney. She spent $50,000 to have South Korean scientists create the world's first commercially cloned puppies using the DNA of her deceased pit bull. Oh my God. You spent 50 grand to clone a dog and you wasted it on a pit bull named Booger? What the fuck? And then in 2019, she was living out of her truck. She was arrested in Los Angeles.
Oh, I didn't know this part.
Charged with vehicular manslaughter and assault with a deadly weapon after striking and killing Gennady Bolotsky, a 91-year-old Holocaust survivor, and fleeing the scene.
Hey, it all comes together.
And then in 2020, they ruled her mentally incompetent to stand trial, and she was remanded to the custody of the county's mental health system for treatment.
And Risto answered a question with SS. It's all coming back to Holocaust. All the threads are coming together. The Jews are in charge of everything. Hidden Fortress is tighter. It's shorter, which makes it a little more watchable. Like Seven Samurai is awesome, but it's like reading Dostoevsky. You know, it's huge. Sorry, we're doing multiple conversations. But if we're talking about Seven Samurai, do you guys ever hear the crazy story of how absolutely nuts Kurosawa was about realism? Where there was like a little peninsula somewhere in Japan where Kurosawa had the entire, whatever medieval Japanese village built, and all the extras in there had to live in the village day and night for all the whatever weeks, like 3 months or something of production. They were all given some paperwork, and there's like, you're farmer so and so. This is your patch of land. You grow beets or whatever, and this is your wife so and so, and this is your life, and this is what you do. And they were basically, they lived as medieval peasants. And so, like, in the movie, when there's scenes of them being raided by raiders, like, Kurosawa didn't tell them when it was coming. Like, he'd just be like, filming them digging beets.
Oh, serious?
Yeah. And like,
what did he tell to the guy? He's like, so you are the village rapist? And that guy's like, oh, fuck. I don't know how seriously I'm going to take this method acting.
Yeah, he's a method
He's a method director.
But that's because Kurosawa was legendary for his ridiculous attention to detail. Like, he had Redbeard, which was about like 18th century, 19th century Japanese doctor, and like there was the set of the clinic, and he had the entire clinic rigged out as an authentic period medical clinic. And so every drawer and cabinet was appropriately stocked with period correct supplies and tools, even if it was never opened on camera or seen by anyone at all. Like, he had this absurd obsession with pure total accuracy.
That must have been such a pain in the ass, but that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, no, it's like I can talk about Kurosawa all day, but he was originally. Did you ever see Tora? It's shit. It's a fascinating concept because it was supposed to be a super accurate epic retelling of the attack on Pearl Harbor. And the thing that was really interesting about it is that like they split the production, where they had a Japanese director handle the Japanese side of things, and they had an American director handle the American side of things, and then they had a master of everything to tie it all together. And they originally had Kurosawa as the guy to direct the Japanese side, and they invited Kurosawa out to Hollywood, and they thought he was insane, to the point where they wrote a letter to the producer going like, are you fucking with us? Why did you send us this crazy guy? And he was fired, and it sent Kurosawa into a major depression because he's like, I'm not a crazy guy, I'm a brilliant director. But he got over it. And made a bunch of more great movies. But I always wondered, like, would Tora have not been a steaming turd if Kurosawa had actually gotten the job?
Maybe these Kurosawa tidbits are like one of the better arguments against race swapping. Because I was talking to my buddy about that, and he's not by any means woke. He thinks all that shit's stupid. We talk all the time. And he was like, I don't know, are you bothered by this Helen of Troy being a black actress thing? And I was like, well, it's stupid. And he's like, but why? She's a fictional character. I was like, yeah, she's a fictional Greek. She's like, but Matt Damon isn't Greek. Yeah, but he looks more Greek than her. I think if she wasn't cast in this, we would be talking about how weird it is to see Matt Damon as Odysseus. And I told him, I was like, well, okay, look at this. John Wayne playing Genghis Khan. That's stupid, right? He's like, yeah, but Genghis Khan was a real guy. I was like, oh my God. Okay. So Ghost of Tsushima, the main bad guy is Khotun Khan, and he is a fictional nephew of Genghis Khan. They do a movie of it. They cast John Goodman. Is that weird? And he was like, I get it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely weird. Like, I just think, like, it would be less weird if we didn't know what they were doing. You know, like
I know,
because like, you know, for example, you remember when you were a kid and you found out that in every single stage production of Peter Pan is played by a woman because he's supposed to be a kid,
and kid actors are shit.
But kid actors are shit, and you need somebody who can sing and that can then like that for insurance reasons you can string up and a harness and, you know, throw around a stage. All those reasons, you know, it's like, okay, well that makes sense. Or like there have been other cases where it's like, you know what, like we just thought that that actor really brought something to the role, you know, whatever you can say, all those kinds of things. But like with the race swapping now, we know it's woke shit, you know?
Yeah.
And so they kind of ruined it for themselves by telegraphing that that's what they were doing.
Well, Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption was a race swap. And
I didn't know that.
Well, that's the whole joke when they ask, why do they call you Red? And he jokingly says, probably because I'm Irish. I think that was an actual line from the book, but he actually was a red-headed Irish dude.
But see, I never knew that. And he absolutely, like, he is the most memorable thing about that movie. Like,
for sure.
He slaughtered that role. Like, what a wonderful, you know, career-defining performance. Like, okay, makes total sense. But also, it doesn't matter because, like, you know, like, first off, is it hard to imagine a black guy in a prison? But
okay, Devin Tracy.
But also, like, notice that it was mostly white guys in that prison. And also the rapists were white. Go figure. In fact, it was a redheaded Irishman. There you go. There you go.
Oh, man. Well,
right. You have lots of stuff. I should do a quickie today because
we can be as quick as you want. So here's a new acronym that you're going to hear a lot in the coming years. DAC. And it used to be AOC, but now we got DAC.
What is that?
Daria Lisa Vila Chevalier. She's the new congresswoman that Mamdani got to push out the Mensheviks. And this is one of the retarded things that she said.
Still ask about two tweets specifically because I think they are relevant to the race. The first is all deportation is wrong. Now, in Congress, obviously, that comes with a lot of questions about immigration enforcement. And even as Democrats might agree with calls that you have shared to things like abolish ICE, I don't know if they're necessarily there on things like all deportation is wrong. Is that something you still believe?
That phrase, yes. I still believe that all deportations are wrong. And
even if we're talking about illegal entry to the country or someone who may have committed a crime.
So when we're talking about things
why
like
is that guy doing this?
We're actually talking about
because he's like, I haven't let somebody know in the last 4 seconds that I'm gay. So I got a crime.
That's a slight, just because while I'm thinking about it, like, because at work, you know, we got a couple of very obvious lesbians, and they've got the pride flags at their desks, and I'm like, we already know you're gay.
It's
like,
make it obvious.
Like, you know, like it's like obviously nobody cares, and nobody like, yeah, like you don't need to have the flag too. Like we know, we know.
That's sort of the different. I talked to Morgan about this with her gay furry brother and her woke brother, and the woke brother's just always trying to. He always tries to work it into the conversation how accepting he is of gay furry brother. and gay furry brother is always like, oh yeah, thanks buddy, you know. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, look, I accept him just as much as you do. I'll make fun of him for the furry shit, but you know, he's fine to do it.
Administrative laws, right? We're not talking about criminal law.
Let me concede the question.
Like that's this weird thing, like administrative. Like,
oh yeah,
again, that's another thing where like they think that they're making a point. You know, like, I mean, my brother made that point. It's like, well, first off, it's a civil infraction. Okay, sometimes, not always, but also like speeding tickets are civil. You can still go to jail if you don't pay your speeding tickets.
Yes, and also it defeats one of their other points that they try to make, because when they call it a civil infraction, they'll also say that like these people before they're deported need due process. A guy at work was telling me this, and I was like, "What's the due process?" And I basically whittled it down to he was saying that the due process would be a jury trial. And I was like, civil infractions don't get a jury trial. You can't have both. Is it a civil infraction where they don't get a jury trial? Or do they get a jury trial so it is a criminal?
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't matter. Either way, they broke the law.
Yeah, no, that's things like, because they say like the due process, where like what they mean is, well, no one should ever be deported for any reason ever. That's what they mean by due process. Like I had that same conversation with my brother, where he's like, they should get due process. I'm like, no, that is the process.
Yeah,
like
the process is, we see you're not a citizen.
You are subject
Bye.
to deportation. End of story. That happened again with the internet today. NPR was talking about the Supreme Court decision. Oh, by the way, Supreme Court gave Trump 1 million victories today.
Yeah.
I
can actually pull that up.
But on the one about how the Supreme Court said, like, no, you don't have to let them on to the country so they can make an asylum claim. They can make the claim from another country. And so I posted my thing that I brought up last week, where just simply asking, is it possible for the asylum system to be abused? And if so, what would that look like? And the responses I got were all that same kind of thing. Where like a lot of people's like, maybe I should go find it. Like it's just totally absurd. Where it's like, well, one thing I thought was funny is like, well, yeah, but they have to be reviewed and stuff. Like, oh, that's funny because that's what happened to Maryland father, is that his asylum claim was rejected 2 times. Okay, you got that. Like they think they're making a point, but like, no, they don't. Oh boy, there's that lady you were just showing me.
What lady?
That communist.
Avila, Chevalier.
That we completely derailed.
That's fine.
Anyway.
Well, here's the Supreme Court rulings you were talking about. Midas Touch was pretty pissed about it.
Which one? The guns one?
All 4 of them.
All of them.
The Supreme Court released 4 decisions today. All were 6-3 or 7-2, with the right-wing majority writing the opinions.
Right wing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing I thought was funny, is that NPR talked about ideologically decided, like they use that word. It's like funny that.
Well, like this
that's
first
only a
one,
word when Republicans do it. It's not a word.
This first one obviously also wasn't ideological because it was 7-2. I don't know which lefty judge sided with him, but it was the court ruled that Monsanto is shielded from cancer victims suing over Roundup. Federal pesticide law blocks states from requiring cancer warnings on labels. So this one I don't know a whole lot about, but I remember when RFK was running for president, I was looking into him a lot, and I knew one of his big things was suing Monsanto for raid causing cancer. He's talking about this guy that got cancer, and it seemed like it was probably definitely from the raid, because he was like a groundskeeper at a school, and he wore it on his back and in a backpack, and he'd spray it, and he got cancer, and they never warned him that it could give him cancer. But I'm looking into the case a little bit, and the backpack was busted to shit. So it was constantly leaking shit tons of raid onto his back. Yeah. So you're like, okay, look, we also didn't put on there that you can't drink it, but whatever.
Thomas Sowell covered this exact thing in his book from 30 years ago, in Vision of the Anointed, where he talks about, like, and that's things we're still that's Utah. We're still dealing with it. We're still dealing with it. It's also similar to do you remember a few years ago when the bees were all dying?
Yeah.
The giant bee collapse thing. And all the talk was about neonicotinoid pesticides. And there was all this bogus non-science talking about how it was the neonicotinoids that were causing the bees to die. And I have a friend who works for the Department of Agriculture, and he's the bee specialist. And I talked about this all the time. And it's funny, like, because this guy, he's a gay, like, and he's an old school lefty. He's not ridiculous though, but he's still basically a lefty. Like, he's a pro-union guy, still votes Democrat, but pretty moderate by Democrat standards. But even way back then, he was like, because he was a guy who actually knew his shit. And he's like, they're totally safe when used correctly. The problem is that, like, the bottle goes out to the farmers. It's got clear instructions on it, and then they ignore the instructions. Like, it's literally like when you buy the Tylenol and it says don't take more than 2 of these, and somebody's like, well, I'll do 10. And he's like, and that's like every time that we find a case where bees are getting poisoned by these things, it's because of misuse, you know? So it's the dose making the poison. When used correctly, it is safe and effective, you know, like a lot of drugs.
I think all guns should have a label on it that says, "Do not point at head of children."
Yeah, we need that.
I was never told.
Yeah. The one that I remember from Thomas Sowell's book, that John Deere was successfully sued after a guy, what was it? He went and bought a fancy tractor at the John Deere dealership that came with a safety doohickey on it, and and he asked the dealer to take off the safety feature, which they obliged him. And then one of his workers was standing on a place you're not supposed to stand with the thing in operation, and he got killed. And they were able to successfully sue John Deere for negligence.
Yeah, John Deere had nothing to do with that at all. So the dealership fucked up by obliging him to take the safety feature off. He fucked up by
he misused it.
Asking him, and then the worker fucked up by standing where he wasn't supposed to. The only person in this situation, the only entity that didn't fuck up was John Deere.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, that's where we've been at for 40 years now. You know, well, like the other one that I didn't even know about that I learned, like, because it was before your time, but the famous $1 million McDonald's hot coffee thing. Where, like, because I always heard about, like, the coffee was extremely hot and it spilled on her legs and caused serious damage. The thing I learned after 30 years from Thomas Sowell is she held the coffee between her legs while she was driving.
Yeah.
Like, because I always thought, like, oh, the lid was loose or something like that. And, like, you know, you can maybe make some kind of negligence claim there. But it's like, no.
I learned about that one in the opposite order of you, because what I learned about was like how stupid it was that this lady can sue them because, of course, the coffee's hot. And I heard that she was carrying it between her legs. And I was like, well, okay, but you know, it could spill on you and stuff. And then I find out years later, but she got like 4th-degree burns and she had like $20,000 in medical debt to repair. And she was really old and whatever. But yeah, she still was. So the coffee was way hotter than it's supposed to be. There's that. I don't know. That one's less frivolous. I feel like I wouldn't feel comfortable suing somebody for if I like balanced the coffee on my head, you know, and like it was hotter than you said. Okay, but you knew it was hot, you know.
The thing I remember from that was that like, because a lot of people were like, why the hell is the coffee so hot, McDonald's? Are you out of your mind? And McDonald's like, because our customers want it that hot. Like,
yeah,
that's why we did that. Like, that's what they wanted, and we were obliging them.
Well, so this one is, and I also don't know much about this. The court struck down Hawaii's law requiring permission to bring guns into private property that is open to public, like stores, restaurants, and hotels. I don't know. I feel like if, like, as Second Amendment as I am, like if a store says you're not allowed to bring guns in our store, well, it's their store, you know?
Yeah, that's one that's always weird. Like that, there seems to be a lot of gray area there.
They own it, and then, you know, hopefully somebody else has a store you can go to that lets you bring guns, or just bring it in anyway. Like that's what everybody does in the Mormon church.
Yeah, that's what the church does.
That's like everyone. The most faithful Mormons I know in the Mormon church was like, we don't allow firearms. Like, no, fuck you. I'm packing in church.
Well, it's kind of like the thing with the Carmelo Anthony is that a lot of people pointed out, like, the knife was legal for him to have the knife in his bag.
Oh yeah.
You know, the school had a rule like, please don't bring a knife to school, kids. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing with a knife,
the law said no, you're allowed to carry a knife. You
Yeah,
can't brandish it, and you can't use it to murder a guy.
That's the thing. That's like, I don't. I mean, a lot of people who are against Carmelo Anthony, I understand. Like he was totally, he murdered a kid, right? but they'll bring that up like, why did he have a knife at a track? He's like, dude, I'm in Idaho. Like, I know kids that do that all the time. Right? It would not be a big deal to me if my buddy had a knife at a track meet. It's just a pocket knife. It's not a big deal. And some of the people trying to defend it was like, it wasn't a knife. It was a cleat sharpener, which isn't a thing. But I'm like, I don't really care what it was. He drove it through a kid's. Yeah, that's not a thing. They tried to say that at first.
That's not a thing.
And I'm like, I don't really care what it was. He drove it through a kid's sternum and sliced his heart in half. So it doesn't fucking matter to me. I don't care if he has a knife there and it violates school policy. I care that he murdered a kid with it. If he had taken a screwdriver, he could have taken a screwdriver. There's no school policy against that. And if he drove it through the kid's eye socket and killed him, it'd be just as mad. I would be like, why'd you have that screwdriver?
Because, like, let's say the Supreme Court says, like, no, if the store says you can't bring the knife or gun, then you can't bring a gun. That's just how that's going to work. Yeah, guess what? The criminals don't care.
I know. It's a stupid.
They're going to go ahead and keep bringing their knives or guns.
Well, labeling something a gun-free zone is the most retarded thing in the world. That's some chick think admin nonsense. Like, well, I would just put up a sign that says you're not allowed to kill people here. You're not even allowed to rape people.
I don't. Do they still do it? Back in the 90s, all the high schools had a big sign that said this is a drug-free zone, and everybody just like, yeah.
I know. Shucks. I was gonna do drugs.
The art teacher is smoking pot in the parking lot, guys. Like, this is not a drug-free zone.
So this one was the big one. The asylum seekers stopped at border or turned back in Mexico. The court says you haven't arrived in America yet, so no right to apply for asylum. I don't totally even understand what, like, they seem to obfuscate that one, but
this is one of those things, like, so many conversations with lefties about this. This is a perfect example of the hatchling thing. Where, like, the world started yesterday, and everything they don't know about asylum is that if you come from another country, as it's like shouting sanctuary in a medieval church. Like, well, that's it. It's over. Like, and
I have the rule of my house is that, like, I'm not gonna let you come in my house, but if you bum rush me, knock me over, and you get to my couch and sit down before I can throw you out, and I'm like, fuck, okay.
Yeah, no, it's like all the people saying, like, ICE needs a warrant to go into your house. Like, yeah, no, it's just like if you're speeding and the police turn on their lights and chase you, like, if you can get to your house and close the door before they can get their hands on you, that's it. They have to turn around like, shucks, he got away. We'll try to get him next time.
One of my friends in high school, his dad, like, he must have thought that was the rule because he was piss drunk driving around, smashed into a tree, drove home. There's like tire tracks leading, and he gets home and like parks his Jeep up on the lawn because he's so fucking drunk, rushes into the house and starts taking a shower. And the cops like get there and they're like, Randy, like, I'm in a shower.
That's always good to know your name.
Yeah. And, well, they knew his name because his fucking bumper came off on the tree he smashed into, so they had his plate. You pick up, if you're gonna flee the scene, pick up the bumper. They'll probably still catch you, but they're like, I'm in the shower. What is this, diplomatic immunity?
It's like, oh well, I don't feel like tackling a naked guy today.
And this one's stupid.
You get a freebie.
Yeah, this one's so stupid. The conservative majority ruled that the Trump administration can end temporary protected status for migrants fleeing violence and natural disasters in Haiti and Syria, and that courts cannot review the federal government's decision in regards to the TPS. That phrase right there, the administration can end temporary protected status. What?
Temporary. The Supreme Court ruled today that temporary is not permanent.
Oh.
Yeah, no, see, like, that's another one of those hatchling things, like, like, again, arguing with lefties where they're like, but he was DACA. Like, the D in DACA stands for deferred.
Yeah.
And the A after the D stands for action. Deferred action. Not you're allowed to stay here forever and ever and ever, amen, no matter what. But that's things. They think it means, well, it's just like, talking again, getting back to that terror trial thing, the Antifa terror trial is a couple months ago. I saw Democracy Now's headline as the trial got started, and their headline was Trump's terrorism trial raises concerns about activism and free speech. Like, again,
Free speech.
they
like,
tried to murder a guy, and Democracy Now is like, well, this could be very chilling for free speech. You know, like, all right.
I can't just say I'm gonna drive to this location and shoot a dude in the face.
Like, hey, my gun was talking. Free speech.
That's some Randy Marsh shit. I thought this was America.
My gun was saying to that cop, I don't want you to be alive anymore. Free speech. That's what it was saying.
So this is hilarious because, wait, she's saying all deportations are wrong. And he's like, okay, let's concede that a deportation is wrong where they don't break the law. What about the people that break the law?
Have not committed a crime, because I think that that's not really the question at hand. Like, if we're saying all deportation is wrong, though, that would seem to also include people who were convicted of breaking U.S. criminal law. Is the deportation of those people wrong?
Yes. And the reason I say that is because we have a criminal system. It is imperfect, but it exists. And it is one that if we accept as the process by which we want to engage with these issues, right? The issues of harm, issues of criminality, what have you, then we need to make sure that it is one that isn't also discriminatory on the basis of where people were born, right? To subject someone who has committed a crime to both a criminal system and then additionally to an immigration system that also detains them in the very same facilities that people who are convicted of criminal convictions are also held, right? And then deported and ripped away from everything they know and love. That is also punishment. And that is punishment not on the basis of the crime they committed, because they already served the time when they were processed through the criminal system. Punishment. It is double punishment. And if we truly believe that double jeopardy is something that is unconstitutional, something that is unethical, something that is against the principles of equality.
This is like basic civics she doesn't understand. Like, this is the most basic principles of American civics, and she's got it completely fucking wrong.
I feel like the smart lefties at some point realize that if you call something socially constructed, most people in their heads, they equate that to not real. And so they'll say shit like, borders are just socially constructed, man.
It's an imaginary line, guys.
It's an imaginary line. Oh, so it's not real. So borders don't exist.
No, but like other countries, like definitely they should have borders. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like, if another country doesn't want American imperialism, they're totally allowed to say no to that. You know?
It's white countries and Israel are the ones that aren't allowed to have borders. That's about it.
Pretty much.
She's gonna be a pain in the ass because, like, on just a verbal level, she doesn't sound as retarded as Ocasio-Cortez. But like, if you listen to what she's actually saying, it's way fucking worse.
No, this is the other thing. Like, this is what's scary about all these communists gaining power, is because that's, you know, like, for a while there, the crazy communists were Bernie and AOC, who are positively reasonable and moderate compared to Mom Donnie's crew. And then these people, and like, it's like, you know, the way that Lenin and Stalin rose to power was by denouncing everyone else as not radical enough.
I thought about doing
like, I think we're totally seeing this like in live action, where like they're gonna just keep outdoing each other in craziness until the revolution happens. And
I thought about doing a whole of Mice and Men allegory to this because of the name that I chose. You got, I don't know, like, I didn't have time to think it out, but you got like Lenny's the Bolsheviks, and and they gotta kill him because either that or he's gonna ruin everything. I don't know. There's something there. I'd have to think about it a little bit more.
It really is scary. Like, but yeah, like I never, like when I was a kid, I was like, oh well, America has its problems, but you know, we'll never go Venezuela. Like, no, I'm starting to wonder, like, no, we're like the way Gad Saad says, like, every day you're either closer or further away from whatever it is, and it's like, well, we just keep moving closer to it, and I don't see that trend slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, the Mensheviks need to stand united. I don't know where it is. I thought I had it somewhere, but did you hear her talk about prisons?
What? No.
She's full on abolish prisons, and you might be able to guess why. Like you might.
So she's into rape culture.
Yeah. Well, no, because what we need to do is we need to address the harms in society that caused rape to happen in the first place. She wants to abolish the police. She wants to abolish ICE. She wants to abolish prisons, and she wants to abolish borders. Those are 4 things that she has explicitly stated. She's been asked since then.
The 4 old.
Clarify. Yeah. Well, and with the prison thing, she kind of tried to dodge it a tiny bit, but it's getting concerning that they're politically dodging even less now. Right?
Yeah.
Like this should have been a layup for anybody, because you can't find a normie Dem or even a fairly far lefty in your life who, if you say, well, I don't know, like if a guy raped a kid, could we deport him if he was illegal? Most of them would be like, yeah. They might even hem and haw and say like, well, I don't really trust the government to accurately assert if he raped the kid. But most of them would be like, yeah. And she's like, nope, because that's double punishment. We're punishing them first by putting them in prison, and then send that guy to the El Salvador prison. I don't fucking care. I don't want to pay for him with tax money.
Yeah, no, the other thing's like, and this things we also know, like, we know damn well that if you actually get power, like, prisons aren't going anywhere. All that's changing is who's going to them and why. Like, but like the whole thing where some people just won't be allowed to be out and about, that ain't changing.
Well, but she goes through the whole, and it's something Chris has harped on for as long as I've known him, is the whole harm cause analysis, because that's the equation that she does in her head to abolish prison, because we're just causing further harm. Instead of I'm trying to think of the exact quote. It's something along the lines of, prison is immoral because, yes, trauma happened when the crime happened, and we put someone in a traumatizing area. So rather than reflect on the trauma that they created, they just experience more trauma. It's like the bike kid meme. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, like
it's like the rapist got out, but I already experienced my rape trauma. And
it's like,
so if he was in prison, he would have experienced this much trauma. Now he's not in prison, so he's not experiencing trauma. So basically the amount of trauma experienced in the world went down. So it's okay.
Well, it's like, Ted Bundy broke out of jail 2 times, and they didn't go like, gosh, he must not like this. He clearly does not like being in jail. We're traumatizing this guy. We need to be more compassionate.
He was that way because he was a Mormon.
Oh, that's right. That's what
happened.
I thought it was law school. I always thought it was kind of interesting because, like, my whole life, and also this is obviously in retrospect, so who knows? But because since I was a kid, they'd always talk about how, like, Ted Bundy was so charming. He was a charming charmer who charmed everybody with his charmingness. And my best friend in high school, both of his parents were in law school at University of Utah with Ted Bundy. And I asked them separately at different times, like, what did you think of Ted Bundy? And they're both like, he was a creep. So I don't know.
Really? Well, there is a cure to all this.
What's scary is my friend's mom, like, in the 70s, she had long, straight brown hair parted in the middle. Like, she was exactly his type. Ooh.
So there's a cure to this, and it's brought to us by one of Steve Eliason's favorite celebrities, Dr. Steve Brule.
People on the right wing concerned about human rights. They're human too. This whole thing that, like, kind of has come into vogue of, like, empathy trap. Like, that's what Elon Musk says. Like, empathy is like, don't be fooled by the empathy trap.
Okay, I love this, though. Just listen to the lady listening to him. I'm going to rewind it a little bit. I fucking love listening. Oh, my God, you're right.
Thing that, like, kind of has come into vogue of, like, empathy trap. You know, like that's what Elon Musk says. Like empathy is like, don't be fooled by the empathy trap.
Yes.
You know, stick to your agenda and what's best for you.
Holy fuck.
You know, don't start feeling bad for so and so. They're on their own thing. Look out for number one. Like it's like, wait a minute, empathy is not a trap. Empathy is a super.
I'm kind of suspecting he hasn't listened actually to what like Gadsad and Elon Musk actually have to say about this.
I mean,
They're saying,
like he's a character. Right?
He sounds like he's in character, but no, it's a little bit blackpilling to me because he sounds like dumb as a lot of his characters are.
Yeah, like for a moment there, I thought he was just doing super meta comedy that he always does. But
if he is, then more power to him, I guess. But it seems double meta.
Yeah.
But it brought me to this.
I'm really getting it.
Oh, shoot. It brought me to this amazing celebs against Trump page. And I've seen it before, but I forgot about it. And I scanned through a couple of them, and this is one of my favorite ones. This one is going to make you just lose your shit because it's hilarious.
It's tough now because the podcasters have become just ass kissers for the politicians, right? They don't challenge them. They just like, yeah, that's cool, right? And that I don't want to do. Like we challenged Obama.
Yeah.
We made it uncomfortable for him in a way that was done for comedic effect. Yes, so he could get his message off for healthcare. Yes, that was a thing that he was doing. And
I laughed my ass off because he's like, we challenged Obama and made him uncomfortable. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But also, that healthcare thing has not worked out at all.
I know. And then he's like, well, and admittedly, it was because we wanted to help his message. Shut the fuck. You didn't challenge Obama at all. You sucked his cock, just like you're pretending that everybody is doing for Trump. And there's a couple podcasters that do it for sure. But like Joe Rogan doesn't suck his dick. He endorsed him. He hates the whole Iran thing.
Yeah, well, like Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders before he endorsed.
I know that's the funniest part is Joe Rogan has interviewed Bernie Sanders 2 or 3 times. This gets dumber.
listen, I don't know if there's going to be societal. Like, who am I? I don't know. I'm a dumb stand-up comic that used to tell diarrhea jokes. So I don't. This is my problem also with comedians. They became experts and podcasters. No offense, but Jesus Christ. You're just a comedian. And by the way, that's my defense of them. You're just a comedian.
Yeah. Anyway,
this thing bugs me because like I know he's talking about Joe Rogan, but what's always been so stupid about the way the left talks about Joe Rogan as though he or his audience sees him as a guru. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. Like he's just a guy that is into conversations and won't shit on people the way I do.
Well, have you
say something stupid? But like they had this whole idea that like that people get their marching orders from like Joe. Like, no, he sees himself as a stupid comedian. He's just really good at conversation. That's all.
Well, how many people have you met who are like just watch all Joe Rogan?
Nobody.
I've met one guy just the other day who was talking. He's like, "Do you watch Joe Rogan?" And I was like,
"I know people who religiously watch what's his name, English douchebag on HBO,
John Oliver."
Yes,
yeah.
Like I know people who unironically treat John Oliver's show the way they claim people treat Joe Rogan.
It's just retard projection.
Yeah, like because they treat John Oliver as though he's serious and not a propagandist and not a comedian, you know.
We ruined poor Steve. We killed his hero. Shush up, you dingbat, Dr. Brule. Well, this one guy was telling me, I try to watch every Joe Rogan. I'm like, if he has a guest on that I want to hear from, I'll listen to it, I guess.
I don't think I've listened to a complete Joe Rogan in a couple of years.
It's been
and I've maybe listened to at most like a 5-minute clip that might look interesting.
I listened to the whole Trump one that he did that. That's the last one I listened to.
See, I don't even remember if I did or not.
I was like, this is wild. And I listened to it and it was fine. You know,
it would have been amazing if you could have gotten
Kamala. Yeah,
That
I
was
don't.
so cool.
Well, the
But I
behind
know
the
why they like. That's things like I didn't need the behind the scenes to know why that didn't happen because like. Kamala, when she's in the room with 60 Minutes, which could only be the friendliest, like that is as nice as it can get for her, and she will fuck that up.
Well,
like,
okay, so
there's no way she doesn't fuck it up with Joe Rogan.
So what they claim could be a lie or whatever. They claim that they actually did want to do Joe Rogan, and they did give him a date where he where they could do it, where it could work, where they'd be in Texas. And he said, I can't, I'm busy that day. And it turns out that was the exact day that he had already scheduled the one with Donald Trump. He just hadn't announced it yet.
Huh.
And so they were all pissy about that, her staffers. And I was like, look, okay, if that happened, you're a fucking idiot still. Because you schedule this is the biggest podcast in the fucking world, buddy. Like you get your if you think it's a good idea to get her out of there, which I don't, you'd have to be an idiot to think it'd be a good idea to get her on Joe Rogan. Unless you're talking about wine, that could have humanized her. If you're talking about wine and shit like that, like there's things she probably knows about. She could probably be a fun aunt that gets too tipsy at Thanksgiving. But if you push her on politics at all, she does not seem like a person.
Yeah. Well, I really kind of wonder. Like, I mean, she does seem to be one of those people that, like, I don't know that that clip from Whitest Kid You Know. That's the senator's ad, where the guy's just like,
Oh yeah.
Well, like that's really like I really think politicians are more like that than not. Having met a couple of them, like. And I like they were my friends, but also like it's just like I kind of couldn't believe how like I had a friend who was a city councilman. We went to soccer games together, and he was a political science guy, and he was running for mayor of Salt Lake City, and he was my friend, and he knew like we talked politics all the time, and he was very left, but he talked to me, and I'd say like I don't really vote, like I don't but like obviously he wanted me to vote for him. And I I was prepared to totally consider it. And one day I asked him, like, well, what's your day one action plan? And he went, what? I'm like, if you win the mayorship, like, what are you going to do? He's like, I haven't thought about it. I'm like, really?
Wait, what?
Yeah. Like he basically literally said to me, he's like, I don't, like, and that's like that thing about like the Whitest Kid You Know guy where he's like, my message is this, me, like that really is like truer than not, like, and this guy, like I had a lot of respect for this guy. He's a really neat guy. He's an accomplished guy, like he had a full ride scholarship at Stanford for playing soccer.
Ooh.
Like, and like his dad's story is actually kind of amazing. Because he grew up in Chicago.
What position?
He was a midfielder.
Oh God.
And
I was gonna say that no matter what.
No, but like the thing that was so fascinating is that like I was in his house one day, and on his kitchen wall was this poster, like that said "Thanks, Coach," and it was this guy's last name. And I'm like, well, what's that? He's like, no, that's my dad. My dad coached me, and I owe everything to my dad. And he told me the story that he was a young kid in the 70s. And that was when the North American Soccer League came about, when Pelé and Beckenbauer came to America, and they tried to make and like for a few years, soccer had like this little brief, like kind of like disco. Soccer was really big in America. And he was a young kid in Chicago, and he wanted to play soccer. And his dad was an old Chicago American who was like, football, Bears, Cubs. Like, and he didn't give a shit about soccer, but his kid wanted to play soccer. But there was nobody to coach the team. So his dad went to the library, checked out all the books on soccer, learned everything he could, became the coach, and coached his son's team to the state championship.
Dude, that's some dad shit right there.
Yeah, super duper dad shit.
Did you hear Terry Crews talk about that?
No.
So, I mean, he's Terry Crews, actor, football player, bodybuilder guy, just ripped out of his mind. Doesn't know anything about nerd shit, but his son got really into robotics.
Oh.
And so he got really into it. He sponsored the school's robotics club, and helped his kid go to all these competitions and shit like that. Got huge into it. It was really cool.
Yeah. No, like I
It
did
was
not have
Morgan.
that with my dad.
Morgan voted in a local election recently, and the reason she voted was because one of our neighbors and his wife came over and knocked on the door, and they're in our ward, and I don't know them super well, but they're nice, and our sons love to play with their kids and stuff like that. And he was like campaigning, and I was like, oh, what for? And
Wait, they're Mormons and they let their children play with the apostates?
Our neighbors are pretty nice. Like they've been pestering me about coming over to help.
Mormons are nice. I know.
Yeah. They come over a couple times to pester me about helping me fix my fence that blew over.
Oh.
Those are our neighbors. Oh, fuck.
It's an eyesore.
Yeah, they're just trying to get me to church.
I my uncle for the sesquicentennial of the Pioneer thing, 1997, because like he'd been out of the church forever. But the local ward knew that he was a gizmologist, like he was a TV production guy and a pyrotechnic. Like, basically his whole career has been doing behind the scenes TV stuff, building props and stuff for commercials and movies and whatnot. And the ward wanted to do a float for the sesquicentennial of the Pioneer Parade. And so they approached him about it, and he said 2 conditions: I'm in charge and I get to drive it. And
Yeah.
and that thing is it worked out for both of them, because he got to do something he loved and was super creative, and they won the float prize because my uncle's he's a genius. What the float was, if you can imagine, it was a float that had a little miniature model of Pioneer era downtown Salt Lake with the temple and little Pioneer buildings all around, and covered in fake snow. And then it had a dome on it shaped like the tabernacle, but all in clear plexiglass. And then he had a fan circulating bleached feathers. So he created a giant snow globe rolling down the street. They won first prize. But I think it's like, he was an apostate and everybody knew it, but the ward's like, hey, this guy can win us this thing.
Well, yeah, and you also, I don't know, if you're a sincere ex-Mormon, you still have some attachment. It's like your heritage, It's
no, absolutely.
And I can't find it right now, but Jonathan shared that post that Sandra Tanner made where she was sort of lamenting the gutting of the Salt Lake Temple.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Like, it's funny that comes from Sandra Tanner. Like, Rebecca Biblioteca is still farting on about Fairview Temple 120 feet high. And I'm like, oh, fucking Temple Schmemple Memple. And then when I heard that, because I assumed that they were restoring the Salt Lake Temple. And if that's true, that they gutted the inside and just put in modern lighting and all that crap, and
it feels
3-star hotel carpeting and all that garbage.
It feels like you're taking the Holy Grail and shaving it down into a coffee mug with Steven Crowder's logo on it or some shit,
Yeah. I got into it a little bit with some people on Rebecca Biblioteca's page about the Fairview Temple, because Salt Lake Trib had an opinion letter from the mayor of Fairview where he's basically we're not against the church. This is just about compromise, and they want 120 feet steeple, and we want it down to 100 feet. And of course, there's all the ex-Mormons in there, fucking assholes. And in the mayor's letter, he's like, we have building rules because people like their views, and that's why we have height restrictions on buildings. And I'm like, it's a needle in the sky, right? Height restrictions on buildings are so you can't build a giant apartment building, or that Elon Musk can't, put a giant fucking warehouse there, right? Because that would block the view. But the temple isn't going to do that. It's a needle in the sky, and then another lady's like,
NIMBY shit.
Yeah, and it's one guy got mad about it. He's like, no, it's about blocking the view. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I pointed out, every fucking little town in Europe, the tallest thing in town is a giant church spire in the middle of town.
tear down the Notre Dame because it's not blocking my view.
Or like it's a needle in the sky. But then another lady was like responded like, well, that's not the only problem. The other problem is that the light pollution because they've got dark sky rules and like. And I immediately looked it up, and the church was like, "No, we're going to abide by the lighting restrictions. That's not a problem." It's just like you guys are just looking for things to dislike about this. Like there are such like are modern Mormon temples as beautifully awesome as medieval churches? No, but they're nice. There's nothing wrong with them. Like,
and it's
come on.
It's just one of those things where I feel like I don't know when you have. I have 3 boys, right? But 2 of them are old enough to argue with each other. And they're like arguing. I came home the other day and Lucas was like, probably. And August was like, no, definitely. No, probably. No, definitely. It's like, what? And they're like, Lucas goes, August thinks if I jump off of this bunk bed and land on the spinny chair that I will get a bleeding owie. And I just think probably. And I was like, well, don't do it. I feel like that's with the Mormon argument, the temple argument. I'm like, church, you could just make it less tall. Who cares? But even more than that,
as a father, you'd be like, well, that's an interesting hypothesis. And how do we do science, kids?
We
come up with a hypothesis, and then we need a control group and a test group. Timmy, your control. Bobby, your test. Start jumping, kids.
Did Nilsson use a chunk of the Salt Lake Temple on his tombstone? That's what
Wade
I saw
is just saying. Is that real?
I didn't know that. He
slightly
had a bit of an ego,
an itty bitty bit of,
and he worked him into a real corner with his whole Mormon thing because now they're trying to sue John DeLynn, and he's kind of got that whole thing in his back pocket where, first of all, I've been doing this for 20 years and you didn't care, but also, you guys said that the word Mormon was a victory for Satan, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, give it to Satan. That's John DeLynn, right?
Yeah.
Let him have it.
Christopher sent this in his chat. Here's a Christian, a Muslim, and a Jew working together for the people. This is a video of 3 atheists, LOL.
Which is not to say that they're not deeply religious, because they are committed communists.
They are very fucking religious.
And that thing like AOC says, billionaires don't make $1 million or $1 billion, they take $1 billion. It's just like, how can you be a grown adult in charge? Like, you're a fucking congressperson, and you can believe and say something so profoundly stupid and wrong and dangerous as that.
They talk about hoarding wealth, like the billionaires are hoarding wealth, and I'm like, okay, look, Mr. Social Construct, let me give it to you here. Wealth is a social construct that we all abide by, right? Wealth is a social construct, and if Elon Musk didn't do any of this shit, the wealth wouldn't just be there. It wasn't just sitting here in the ether waiting for us to grab it, and he used a big old excavator to pull it all out for him. So he created it. And I don't know what you're saying. I'm not less wealthy because he's more wealthy.
Yeah. And also just like, guys, do you not know? Like, because they're like, communism, we are democratic socialists, which is like the original communists literally called themselves democratic socialists. Like that was their name for themselves. And they said the same thing. It's like, the problem is the rich people. So step 1, we are going to ruthlessly murder the Romanovs in a farmhouse basement, and we're going to botch it because we're communists. We're going to do a farcically bad job of that. and when it turns out that didn't solve all our problems, we're going to have to go after the next thing, the kulaks, and we'll just kill all of them. And it turns out that they were the people, like, it turns out that they got their wealth by being really good at farming. And when we killed them all off, nobody left knew how to farm for shit. But like, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, these people don't get it. They're like, oh, that's okay. All right. Let's string up Elon Musk, you know, and everybody who made $1 million at Tesla, they all need to die. You know, okay. Well, good luck with your electric cars of the future. Is that made out of temple?
I don't know. Because Wade was saying it's got a plaque and everything, tacky as fuck, and I believe you, because like That sounds like something he would do. Like,
because I mean, that's things like they could just go to the same quarry. I don't know what words all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it says the monument is notable for an embedded brass plaque on the back, which reads, "This monument was crafted of stone from the Salt Lake Temple 2020 renovation."
Huh.
Hang on. I want to see this.
That's...
No, I want an image, you dumb thing. Oh, there it is. This monument was crafted of stone. Yeah, from the Salt Lake Temple.
All right. I mean, like, if they didn't destroy the inside of it, I wouldn't care too much about that.
I know. That wouldn't bother
like,
me.
You know, like, oh, we need to make a wheelchair ramp. We'll have to cut out a piece of temple. All right, fine.
Well, I remember the Lobsters talking about that a lot because they were pissed when they were finding out about the renovations they were going to do. And they were going to get rid of a lot of the murals. And I don't know. I haven't seen the inside of it yet. So I don't know.
Well, we'll never get to see it again. Are they going to do an open house? I live 3 blocks away from there.
They are. I don't know when it's going to be. Let's see.
Man, we are exciting podcasters. Just go on the Google.
April 5th, 2027 through October 1st, 2027. Whoa.
April 5th. I get it.
Yeah.
I see why you started there.
That's the day before Jesus' birthday.
That means there's not a chance in hell of getting in there on the 6th. But I'm going to go check it out if I can. I will return and report.
Well, you want to see more Pearl asking?
Let's do this, and then we ought to wrap it up.
Okay. I got to show you. I'll show you one thing after that. It'll be brief, though. Okay. So I watched some, and Pearl is a hack.
I barely know. Like, I've seen a couple clips that you've talked about, but I've never followed her outside of that.
I don't think she believes anything that she says. I think she's
fortunately she hasn't entered my algorithms.
Well, she was on a Jubilee thing against feminists, and she actually sounded pretty reasonable in that. So then
that's
I looked
not
her
hard
up.
to do.
No, it isn't. And so I looked her up, and I was like, oh, she's just spouts out Andrew Tate shit. And Andrew Tate is one of those that is like actually sexist, right? And yeah, she's a complete hack, but she's interviewing Mormons.
Wearing a fanny pack?
She is wearing a fanny pack. What a fag.
Yeah.
So she's outside.
She came straight from the Gay Pride Festival to come and talk to Mormons.
Yeah. She's outside a Mormon church on Sunday, and she's asking random Mormons. And it's got to be in California.
Dude, the wind blowing the tie over the shoulder, it kind of makes that too perfectly Mormon.
I know, that's so Mormon.
Yeah, it's literally like if I was directing a movie about Mormons and I wanted super accuracy, I'd be like, we got to get the tie over the shoulder.
And then the sign says, should Christian women submit to their husbands or be obedient to their husbands or something like that. This guy isn't the one I was going to listen to. It's the next person. Damn it.
Volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's awesome that you're doing this.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
My name is Heidi.
Heidi, nice to meet you. I'm Pearl.
First, I just have to ask, where did this question come from? Like, it seems interesting.
Maybe it came from the Bible. I don't know.
That's such passive aggressive bullshit.
Well, this is hilarious because she comes and asks this, and just imagine how Maven would describe the church, and then listen to this lady talk.
What inspired you? Maybe there's something on social media I don't know about.
Nothing like that.
Oh, okay.
It's honestly, I just wanted to know what different churches believe.
Maybe she read a transcript of the maybe she read a transcript of the endowment on the internet. Like, what do you mean? Where did this question come from? Like, you're a Mormon lady. You know where this question came from.
Well, that's kind of the thing. All of the Mormons that talk to her about this, it's one of those they want to have their cake and eat it type things, where they want to be like, yeah, we believe in the Bible. And one of the guys even says, like, they should obey their husband, but that means they're partners, like, and they're equal.
Yeah. And they kind of do this thing where it's like, well, yes, men are in charge and women should obey, but men should never ask them to do anything they don't want to do.
I know.
That's basically what it comes down to. Like,
the obedience question.
Oh, okay.
And I think there's a lot of people curious. They want to know about different religions. And I try to come at it as I'm not pushing one religion or another. I just want to know what the churches believe.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. And I love that you're here asking us because some people don't think our church is Christian and we are. So.
Yeah. Well, we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. We don't want
we're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so of course we're Christian. So I love that.
Okay.
I've been married 34 years.
That wasn't the question.
And this question made my husband laugh. Does that answer the question for you?
Laugh because you don't obey him or you do?
Because the idea of a marriage being based on one person obeying the other, that's not a relationship. That's not a partnership. And we're definitely partners. And I very much feel like my religious upbringing has taught us, like that's actually my daughter-in-law's dad that we were talking to.
Okay. Can we hear from him?
It's like we're one, and that's what we're trying to become. And I know in the Bible that there is phrases where they talk about in a lot of different scenarios that need to be more like Christ. So Christ is in charge, but he serves. And so when you say obey, to me, that's not somebody that's serving somebody.
Oh, that's so I don't have to obey Christ because we're partners. I get it.
I mean, Christ, we're just pals.
Oh yeah, no, that's what they mean by he's my brother. I don't have to do what I don't have to do what he says.
Yeah, I remember when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 10 requests.
The 10 strong suggestions.
It's a stone tablet honeydew list.
Dude, that clip from what is it? That Mel Brooks clip. I should know the movie. You know what I'm talking about? Where I think it's Mel Brooks, and he's Moses coming down from the mountain, and he's got 3 tablets, and he goes, God has given us these 15. One of them falls. These 10 commandments. One of the most perfect pieces of comedy ever.
That was awesome.
Well, do you think it's wrong like when a boss does it?
It's a different dynamic.
Okay. So what happens when you guys disagree? How do you guys come to a conclusion? Wouldn't you say one person does have to give it? Like, because it's not like
I'm looking to see if you're married. When we disagree, there's a lot of talking that goes on.
Pearl doesn't like that question. She is not married.
We have certain things that we definitely don't see eye to eye on.
No, she's a complete fake retard. She's an idiot.
And you have to figure out how to make it work.
Who would you say gets their way more?
What do you think?
That face.
What do you think she's gonna say? What do you think she's gonna say?
We know.
Unfortunately, probably me.
Okay.
So would you say equal?
Right.
Unfortunately. I wish it wasn't like that. If it were up to me, if it were just up to me, I wouldn't get my way most of the time.
We're a partnership. Well, who wins all the time? Well, I mean, I do.
That's just like that weird unfortunately. Like, no, not unfortunately. That's exactly how you want it.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Yeah,
you
like
if you
wanted it differently, you can have that.
He just wants to blowy on Father's Day. That's all. And you make him feel like an ass for that. Probably not. I don't know. I don't need to speculate on this lady's sex life. I'm a dick. Sorry.
A little more service oriented maybe than I am sometimes.
So would you say in a way he's obedient to you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. No. So you would just say when you disagree,
well,
you talk
you
about
disagree, and it can be like, okay, but I don't care as much as you, so I'm going to go ahead and let you. You were talking about raising children earlier, and I thought, there are so many times. One thing I loved about my husband, and I feel like it has to do with our Christian background, is that maybe when I discipline the children different than he would want to, later on, we would talk about it, but he would 100% support me in the moment.
Right.
And so we got really good at doing that.
And would you say you do the same for him? Like if he disciplines in a way, and then you guys fight behind closed doors?
That's right.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, it's like, hey, this is what I saw. This maybe didn't go so well. Like, what if we did this? And so. Do
you guys believe in the natural order of the world? So God, men, women, children? Some churches believe that, some don't. Again, no right or wrong.
No. I don't speak for my church. I can just speak as a member of my church, and I'm somebody who's in leadership, and so I do a lot with the women. I work a lot with the men, and
you'd say the majority of people don't follow or believe that.
Okay. I would say, yeah. And if you want to hear great things,
you hear that, Maven?
That's amazing.
This lady's like, the majority of Mormons don't believe that.
So there's 45 minutes of this?
Yeah, about 40 minutes.
Does it all go about like this, I'm guessing?
It goes, so I think the first one was a guy, and then there's her, and then
like, when does the
guy.
woman sheepishly stand by silently with the veil over her face while the husband is like, oh, really? Really?
There's 4 people she talks to, and this is the only woman, and the other guys are mostly cucks. One of them does say, like, yeah, I think that the wife should obey the
You
woman.
know what would be fascinating is if she went to a Tongan ward and did
Go to Mexico.
I wonder if there would be any difference in how people talk.
Well, it was hilarious because I remember this time early in my marriage. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. Stupid, right? She's gonna get mad at me for telling this story because it's embarrassing to her. But Morgan was the most Mormon person you would ever meet. Very sincerely Mormon, right? And so she was like wanting to get God's direction and everything. We were very recently married. We're in a studio apartment at BYU, Idaho. She's taking classes. She needs an elective to fill a credit because college is a fucking scam. And she had to decide between archery or bowling to get her degree in math.
Did she pray about it?
My wife, who is getting a female getting a STEM degree, is like has to take either bowling or archery. And no, she didn't pray about it. What she did was ask me to pray about it. She was like, she came up to me. She's like, should I take archery or bowling? And I was like, I don't. I don't care. What do you want to take? She's like, well, what would you take? Archery. Bowling's boring. Archery's cool. She's like, is that what you think I should take? Well, if you like bowling more, then you should take that. She's like, but what do you think God wants me to take? I don't think God cares.
See, that was your chance to be like, all right, honey, I will go pray. And then you just go leave the room for 15 minutes, flip a coin, come back. God has declared, he has spoken to me, thou shalt bowl. And like you could have run with that for years.
Well, I could. It gets worse because because she was like, well, can you pray about it? And I was like, look, I don't think this is a pray about it thing because I don't think God cares.
Let's not pray. Let's go bowling and see if you like it.
I know. And I was like, but if anyone's going to pray about it, why don't you just pray about it? I think it's weird, but go for it. And she was like, but, and this is where I fucked up big. I fucked up so big. She was like, but don't you have like dominion over me? And I was like, no,
I'm wearing a wrinkled shirt. No,
no, I don't have to. You're a person. Go. Anti-feminist me had this in my clutch. I could have told my wife, yes, I have dominion over you. You will take archery and you will buy a bow that it's more for my size. Yeah. And so I can shoot it too.
In fact, while you're buying it, have my name engraved on it.
Oh man, I should have been like, yep, go for it. Yep, dominion over you.
That's right. That was what that whole temple thing was all about. I'm glad you were paying attention.
Yep. God also says only 2 Amazon packages a week.
Oh yeah. And why don't you cook steak a little more often? I don't know why that's not happening. God has been very open about that.
Anyway, this lady's, I don't know. I think it gets funnier. I can't. She goes on for a little.
Listen to all the general conference.
What's that?
Is this on pearl.internet. The YouTube? I find it if I want to try to.
I'll send the link to the chat. I've got it all in the show notes. The show notes aren't that difficult. I was worried because this time I didn't have nearly as much time at work to prepare. Like last time, I thought I wouldn't have had enough, and we didn't get to half of what I had. And this time, I had like 2 hours, and I was like, "Ah, shit! Now we're definitely not gonna have." But it's actually pretty easy to.
I should learn how to do it someday.
It's not too bad. You just come up with a couple things to talk about. I always like doing some kind of an intro with like an ad read or some shit like that because I'm stupid. But I don't know. Do you want to finish this or do you want to be done?
Yeah, no, we should. Let's wrap it up sooner than later.
Okay.
Well, I should have gone to bed a long time ago. But...
Okay. Well, let me show you the one last thing. This one's actually short. I have to do this every month or two. I have to do a check-in with Maven,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you've seen it. So I call it
I only
Wigtow.
read a response. I didn't even read what she was responding to.
Okay, so this is Wigtow Waven. So for anybody that doesn't know, MGTOW is men going their own way, and
No, this is still MGTOW because it's Maven
It is.
going her own way.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if I were to read this to you and switch everything up, just listen to this response. The biggest
Women
threat
in
to
your 40s. Well, I just didn't read the so
yeah.
women in your 40s, what is the best piece of life occurring you confuse 20-something-year-old woman? First off, is Maven in her 40s?
Yeah, she's older than she looks. I think she was in her 40s when we talked like 2 years ago about abortion. Anyway, so yeah, it's women in your 40s. What's the best piece of advice or career advice you could give to 20-something women? The biggest threat to your safety, peace, fulfillment, financial stability, and happiness are men. This sounds so red pill, Maven. Congrats.
Oh, yeah.
And I cannot express how easy it is for men to lie to women they're romantically interested, even / especially supposed good men.
Oh, they're the worst.
Even the nice guy, even the good dudes, they lie to you even more.
Men are bad, but you know what's worse? Good men.
This makes me, everything I read, I doubted her account of her dad the first time I heard it because she's so clearly BPD.
Yeah.
But like the more I read, the more I doubt if that's possible.
If you must marry. If you must.
Don't marry young. Marry when you're older and can discern better men who are better fit for you. Never marry before you've learned to be happy with yourself. Is that what you did, Maven? You're still learning.
Oh, by the way, I'm asexual and I had a hysterectomy. Because I'm terrified of getting pregnant. Oh my God.
And this part was funny.
I just hope that's things like I really hope that nobody takes advice from her. But
hopefully not. This was hilarious to me. My mind tells me to do horrible things on a daily basis when I'm not on mind-altering drugs. Love my SSRI, LMAO. Take my SSRI away, face my wrath. And then Maven, same. My SSRIs keep the rage away.
Yeah, that's kind of like, whoa. Like, what does that mean when she's not on the SSRIs?
She would... 2 steps up from Maven is like an incel mass shooter.
Absolutely.
This is the Spider-Man meme of him holding back the bus, and Spider-Man is the SSRIs.
Like if she wasn't taking her Zoloft, would she just be making bombs in the basement?
She's just Timothy McVeigh, except she's drugged.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. It's tragic. It's tragic comedy. Like, you know, I do feel bad for her because that's got to be a miserable hell to be trapped in that brain space all the time. But what can you do? I guess it's good that she's on the drugs. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if she's gonna go shoot up a mall, if she's not on the drugs, Charlie asks if Maven has ever been in a relationship. I don't remember.
I don't know. I have no idea.
All we know is that she had a traumatizing experience when she was 16. That
Timothy McMaven.
Oh man. All we know is that she had a traumatic experience at 16 years old where she was wearing an almost sleeveless dress, and two misogynistic boys commented on it while they were passing her. The problem with labeling everything as traumatic is that there are things that are actually traumatic that happen to people. And the more I hear it, the more I want to like reactionarily go the other way and be like, nothing is traumatic ever. Fuck you.
No, well, like that is that thing I was thinking about when I read the diaries of like my German grandma or her brother, where like, you know, by the time my grandma was 12, like she lived through the Weimar Republic. She watched her dad come home with wheelbarrows full of money that was worth nothing. You know, she saw the family split apart. She traveled across to Brazil, leaving half the family in Germany, where she and her family almost immediately died of malaria in the jungle. She had to abandon her dolly in the jungle so that she could carry her brother out of the jungle so they wouldn't die of malaria.
Oh,
and then she was, in order to help make money for the family, she was in a Cinderella situation with an abusive, crazy old bitch. She saw her sister's boyfriend murdered on the street by a rival lover, and like this was all before she got to 18, you know. And then somebody made fun of my dress. You don't have problems, you know.
I remember this, like from the Mormon side growing up. I don't know if this was more like my age, right? It was a quote falsely attributed to Boyd K. Packer, and he like immediately told people, "Stop saying that I said this. I didn't say this," right? And I heard it from my seminary teachers and a couple Sunday school teachers that after you die, you're going to be talking to a bunch of people from a bunch of different eras.
Yes.
And they're going to ask you, what time are you from? And when you tell them, I'm from the era of Gordon B. Hinckley, they will wide eye and bow at your feet for the trials you had to go through. And I remember as even like a Mormon kid who was bought into it pretty much, I was like, okay, I know you're talking about porn. I know you're saying like I had the temptation of looking at titties, but like I never had to carry my dying brother with malaria through swampy jungles. Like I didn't have to do that. That was and if nobody I've ever met has had to do anything like that. I've lived in an era where we have the temptation of looking at titties all the time, but also are impoverished, are fat with smartphones.
Yeah, no, like the other thing, like that was so tragic reading her memoir about this is that she talked about how, because she was 11. I think she was 11 years old when she was carrying her brother out of the jungle so they didn't die of malaria, and in her memoir, like she talked about how she kicked up a big stink, and she was mad and she threw a fit that she had to leave her dolly in the jungle, and how she felt so much shame for that, looking back on it, where it's like you were 11 and like you had to put up with all this shit and all you wanted was your dolly, and your dad's like, I'm sorry, no. Like, and just like it's just astounding to me that like it's just when you listen to what modern people call trauma, I mean, I just think about years ago at the wine store, we had a part-timer that was a they them that worked that was in a master's degree program in Washington and was working a summer job, and like it's a retail environment, but she got a letter from her therapist where she got to wear headphones all day. She didn't have to talk to customers. She didn't particularly have to respond to directions to do her job. And her whole thing is like, my life is hard and I have anxiety. It's
like 40% of Stanford students are now diagnosed with, like Stanford law students are diagnosed with a mental illness so they can have extra time on their tests.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy because that's like, because I've been through some major shit. Yet, all I think about is like, you know what? Count your blessings. Like that's what I always think. Count your blessings. Like that's one of my favorite lessons I ever got from church. Count your blessings. Which is the most anti-woke thing imaginable is to sit back and say, like, you know what, all things considered, like it doesn't mean nothing bad ever happened or will happen to me, but I don't have it too bad.
No, that's so me and Morgan have this thing where like in any marriage you're gonna have complaints about each other, right? And she had some complaints about me because I'm not the most motivated person and I don't get things done very quickly. And then like she meets her friends who like, oh, my friend's husband cheated on him with her cousin and now he's gaslighting her into thinking she's the problem because after their divorce, she started dating someone. Oh, my other friend, her husband just doesn't get a job ever, and she's trying to support the whole family, and he also doesn't cook or cleans. And she's like, you know what? It's nice that she has those friends with deadbeat husbands because it's easier on me. And then I'll be like, oh, Morgan spent a lot of money on Amazon packages, or oh, Morgan did a lot of trips back to St. Louis to visit her family and we can't afford it, or whatever it is. And then I listen to like you and Chris talk about your exes. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna count my blessings.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, yeah, like I think the worst thing that I ever had to worry about was spending too much on Amazon.
Well, I don't know. I've always kind of tried to be that way because, like, at work, I don't like being around. There's just a lot of guys where I work who just all they do is bitch about their wives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, do you love her? Because it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, no, that's
like, I try to not bitch about my wife at work.
Well, also, like, that's things like, I mean, I feel bad for people I mean, women have their own set of nightmares with relationships, I know, but there's definitely a genre of men who are basically just trapped in a shitty marriage. And, you know, but there's also that whole thing, because that's one thing, like, my parents did that. Like, all my parents ever did was badmouth each other, like, to each other and behind each other's backs. That's like, it doesn't make sense to say behind each other's backs because it's not like it was a secret to either of them that the other one was badmouthing them. Like, it was constant. Like, the nicest my parents ever got was not actively abusing each other. You know, like, really that was about as good as it got. Anyway, all right, we got to wrap it up because I got to work early. Normally, I'd try to get a nice nap in before Thursday night podcasting, but
that's all good, buddy.
And I'm back on the Great Awakening. I'm working every Saturday from now until England. On July 4th, I'm going to work 12 and a half hours.
Jeez, that's fun.
Yeah, it's double time, though. I'm going to get double pay. That's what I'm
Holy fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah. All righty.
All right, what?
I was going to say, who's in the chat. Thanks.
We got Wade there. He said this when I was talking about the Hinckley, like the era of Hinckley. Like, oh, they foresaw Maven. Maybe they were prophets. Like, I guess I forgot about the trauma of dealing with Maven.
I don't know. Like, I really wish the best for, like, that's things like, if I had my wish, if I could pray to God and ask for blessings, I'd ask for Maven to find some happiness.
Oh yeah, I'd love for her.
But I don't think it'll ever happen. Like,
nah, I'm not optimistic about it, but I'd love for her to live a healthy life and stuff like that. Even though she told me I'm worse than a rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, she's nice.
You're like 5% as bad as a rapist.
Yeah, if we could get her down to at least 20% as bad as a rapist, I'd be happy. I'm like, you know what? Thank you.
Yeah, go so far. All righty.
Hasta la pasta, as Chris says.
Chris is playing guitars 2 blocks away from me, but we're doing this instead.
I put in the show notes, Chris is off playing banjo and/or kazooie.
That's right.
And getting pussy.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's funny. Like, years ago, my mom asked me, like, you know, does Chris date? And I'm like, he loves his dogs too much for a woman. Like, the thing is, like, if I guarantee that if, like, first off, I know that women are going to be hitting on him. They hit on him everywhere he goes.
Men hit on him too.
that too. But like he will pack his guitar up, and women will be hitting on him, and he'll be like, I got to go walk my dog. And
if
that's what he'd rather do.
You don't get in between Chris and his canned chicken.
Well, no, and that, like, seriously, like, Chris. The luckiest dog on planet Earth is the dog that is in Chris's possession at any moment. He is the best dog dad in the history of forever. Like, I wish I could be a dog so that I could live with Chris. Just, it's nothing but walkies and walkies and walkies and walkies. It's all the favorite things that dogs love. Alrighty.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye.